Welcome back to Economics for Normal People, where we take all the technical mumbo jumbo of economics and turn it into things that you can understand. I'm one of your hosts, Ashton Croto.
And I'm your other host, Ethan Manfredi. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the importance of the macroeconomy and then move into talking about the Federal Reserve.
So, what is the macroeconomy? The macroeconomy is the branch of economics that looks at markets, businesses, and consumers, and governments as a whole.
While the microeconomy focuses on specific firms, businesses, and individuals, the macroeconomy focuses on how an overall economy behaves.
Looking at the macroeconomy is like looking at different recipes. Looking at the microeconomy is looking at the ingredients in those recipes.
You might have heard of words and phrases like inflation, gross domestic product or GDP for short, and unemployment. Well, all of these things are examined in macroeconomics.
One of the most important parts in managing this macroeconomy is the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, or commonly known as the Fed, is the central banking system of the United States.
I know many people who criticize the Federal Reserve, some thinking it is unconstitutional and should be abolished altogether. If people are against it, then why should it exist in the first place?
That's a good question. Why does the Federal Reserve even exist?
In a broad answer, it exists to perform 5 key functions that promote the health of the U.S. economy and the stability of the U.S. financial systems, all while keeping in mind the best interests of the public. Let's delve into these 5 functions. First, the Federal Reserve conducts monetary policy. The Federal Reserve's monetary policy has 2 main goals. The first goal is to promote maximum employment. This means that all Americans are willing and able to work are gainfully employed. The second goal is to promote stable prices for easier consumption of goods and services. The Fed promotes these 2 goals by changing something called interest rates, or the percentage you have to pay back in order to borrow from a bank.
The Federal Reserve's power over credit is like turning the tap on for your sink. The Federal Reserve can open that credit tap up, decreasing interest rates and giving consumers the ability to consume more, or the Fed can also close the credit tap and drive up interest rates to battle things like inflation. With these powers, the Federal Reserve can counteract or prevent economic downturns. The second thing the Fed does is supervise and regulate financial institutions and activities. This simply means that the Fed inspects banks from the smallest to the largest to make sure that they are following the laws and regulations created by Congress and regulators like the Fed.
The third responsibility of the Fed is to promote consumer protection and community development. The Fed does this by giving citizens easy access to things like bank accounts, credit cards, and mortgages. The Fed does this by requiring financial institutions to follow fair lending and fair housing laws, as well as community reinvestment laws. These laws make sure that every person gets a fair and equal opportunity when using financial institutions.
The fourth function is to promote financial stability. The Fed promotes financial stability by monitoring the links between investors, savers, borrowers, and businesses. The Fed promotes stability by doing these things like putting money into the financial system. The Fed has done this after shocks like the stock market crash or after the September 11th terrorist attacks. Without this, there would be massive shocks to the economy with massive changes in employment and prices.
The final function is to foster the safety and security of payment and settlement systems. The Fed does this by looking at usage trends to ensure systems are evolving and keeping pace with the needs of people and businesses who rely on them. These efforts support smooth operation of the nation's payment system and provide stability of our financial system and our economy.
The Federal Reserve has tools with more direct impact on the global economy than any other institution in the world, public or private. So knowing a little about it will definitely help you.
I hope this episode of Economics for Normal People has helped you better understand macroeconomics and the importance of their Federal Reserve. See you next time.